So if you're someone like me that grew up when E3 was in its heyday and you knew that each and every year you essentially had the summertime to look forward to as gamers' Christmas for that 1 week where we could expect all of the major gaming companies to come together, most namely Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, to reveal to us what is next, sometimes with brand new console hardware, other times just with huge game announcements that were literally saved for that stage to try to one-up each other and be the show stealer. When it is all said and done, you probably have a lot of fun nostalgic memories for conferences like E3, and in today's video, we have to discuss a brand new report that does suggest that we may be at the very tail end of the life of this convention going forward, because major names that you would expect to be there have apparently made it clear that they will be skipping this event altogether, and we have to break down and discuss what this means when it comes to summertime gaming presentations, including that heavily expected Nintendo Direct right now. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. And as I mentioned, guys, today we are talking about E3 and what to expect this year in 2023, because you may know that it has had a very rocky history over the last few years, primarily set on by the height of the pandemic, with some entirely missed years, as well as some entirely digital-only years, and you can rewind history and realize that Sony has not really been a part of this thing in a direct capacity in quite a number of years now, but we've still seen major companies like Microsoft and Nintendo always show up with their own show floor stage setups, in addition to holding some kind of mainline presentation like a Nintendo Direct or an Xbox game showcase at the time that E3 was going on, clearly stating their involvement with the ESA. And while there have been huge complaints towards the ESA over how this thing has been organized, and clearly you can now make the case that with direct-to-consumer communication being so easy, with Nintendo having their own following on YouTube and every other major social media platform, that it is not really needed for these companies to participate in a live in-person conference in any way, shape, or form. And you can even argue that Nintendo really paved the way for direct presentations, even Microsoft legitimately taking the branding with their most recent Microsoft Developer Direct, and PlayStation has coined the term State of Play and Game Showcase. The long and short of it really meaning that these companies no longer need to pay any kind of fees to be a part of a convention, but rather just have access to their own direct consumers that care about the information that they have to provide. And conventions like E3 may really be just becoming more of a nostalgia play for people who grew up in the heyday when the in-person events were still hosted on stage and filmed and shared online. And the writing may now be on the wall that E3 may never fully return back to its former glory. And I was very hopeful for this year, because while the ESA has had numerous complaints against them, we were actually going to get ReedPop organizing this year's event. It was claimed to be the big return and restart of E3. You now have new organizers involved. You have the commitment to have an in-person showcase once again. You were going to have gamer days and media pass days alike. It definitely seemed like 2023 would be the biggest shot to have E3 return to its former glory, and that is now all being called into question, as you can see the following article posted up over on Nintendo Everything that reads: Nintendo reportedly skipping E3 2023 entirely. Nintendo has always been a big part of E3, but rumor has it that the Big N will be skipping this year's trade show. That's according to IGN, who has heard from multiple knowledgeable sources that Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo won't be a part of E3 2023 or have a presence on the Los Angeles Convention Center show floor. E3 has not been the powerhouse that it was since the coronavirus pandemic started in 2020. After attempting an online-only version in 2021, the show was scrapped entirely for 2022. Now E3 is looking to make a big return for 2023, but if none of the console manufacturers are there, that would certainly hurt. Before moving to Nintendo Direct formats, Nintendo held an in-person conference at E3 each year. However, even after moving to online presentations for fans instead, it did at least appear on the show floor with playable games. Fans have also typically grown to expect a major Nintendo Direct event in June to coincide with E3. IGN claims via a source that there have been ongoing frustrations with the ESA, with the site stating that the organization has incredibly mishandled the E3 brand over the last 3 years. The same source says multiple E3 organizers have left the ESA, leaving a new group to sweep up after them. ReedPop, who has been brought on for E3 2023, has also been criticized for its handling of the event and how there's a lot of missing information, including what the show will actually be like this year. E3 2023 will take place between June 13th and June 16th. The last 2 days will be E3 Gamer Days in which the public can attend. So whether or not you're like me and you're Team E3 and you want to see them succeed and have a big comeback and maybe return to its former glory back in the good old days, the nostalgia trip, maybe you're like that and you enjoy that aspect of remembering what it once was and you don't want to see it die, or even if you're somebody who's like, you don't need this anymore, there's no reason for it, direct to consumer makes more sense, and with companies being able to share their presentations online, that is all we need. Regardless of what camp you fall on, there was some nice structure that was added into the summertime event that was known as E3, because we've seen how sporadic and unpredictable everything is in years where they are not holding that event at all, or it is loosely structured like it has been in more recent years. You're really left guessing what these companies are going to do, and if they're going to reveal any big information to us over the summertime at all. You probably remember, if you've been keeping up with the channel over the last year, that June last year, all eyes were on Nintendo to see, since E3 is fully canceled, will they be holding any kind of direct presentation? And we got a couple game-focused directs and a direct mini presentation focusing on third-party announcements, of course, as it was a partner showcase. We got no mainline summertime update, and that could just be because Nintendo didn't feel like they had enough to show off. And according to Andy Robinson and a tweet that he mentioned about this story, it sounds like he shares that mindset this year, that Nintendo may not really feel like they have enough to show off to be a part of the showcase, and that is actually the reason why they won't be participating in the show floor and potentially not even the digital event at all. I am hoping that Tears of the Kingdom is not the last major Nintendo Switch game that we can look forward to before we start to see what is going to be built up and revealed to us for the true next-gen successor, but we very well could be in that season now where we will see more ports and remasters and simple projects brought to the Switch over the next year or two. And maybe in that time frame, Nintendo only feels like they need to have major presentations in February and September, and then just put on some kind of mini partner showcase over the summertime. That feels very weird to say when we've historically seen Nintendo save their biggest reveals and biggest announcements for that summertime E3 Direct. But if we are to believe this report, and they are truly not aligned with the ESA or ReedPop E3 as a whole this year, we are back in a scenario where we are fully questioning what that summertime Direct will look like if we get one at all. Could Summer Games Fest emerge and really be the competitor to E3 and take it down? I'm okay with that as long as Summer Games Fest feels similar to what E3 once was, and they have that same kind of in-person and online presence. I don't think that show is there today, but it is nice to see Keighley working to do some kind of alternative to what E3 was. He even capitalized on the moment with this news, reminding people that Summer Games Fest will be in effect this year, but we will have to wait and see if he secures bigger announcements and bigger involvement from Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, because those are the big companies that fans ultimately want to hear from, and that bring the true level of hype that we would expect with the summertime presentations, whether it be E3 or Summer Games Fest, or maybe we're done with a structured summertime gaming showcase. Regardless, we will all have to wait and see how this year and years forward ultimately unfold. But I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, your personal thoughts and speculation around this. Do you think that the report is indeed accurate, and that most likely no involvement from Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo will indeed be the case for E3 this year? And do you think that does cement the nail in the coffin for them as a major gaming showcase? Or could you see a world where E3 doesn't need those big three companies to actually be a major convention, and a lot of the third-party developers will actually just get more floor time and focus because of the lack of the involvement from the big guys? And what do you think about Summer Games Fest emerging as the true alternative, and now maybe one day the only summertime presentation to look forward to if E3 does indeed get canceled altogether this year or years forward? And are you like me and you have some nostalgia for the E3 format and you want to see it come back to its former glory? Or do you think that we should just let the past be the past and transition to direct-to-consumer only presentations? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around this topic. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.